r/NoSleep. Posted by u/happyotter03. My new job had one rule: don't speak to the hooded woman. Look kid. She only comes out during the 1 a.m. hour. So, just be careful, okay? I looked at him, skeptical. I think he could tell I didn't believe him as he continued, "This is serious, okay? Just promise me you won't talk to her." "Okay. I promise." He smiled a fake smile and let me leave his office. What a load of BS. I thought to myself. Did he really think I was going to believe that some creepy chick in a hooded cloak that only comes out at 1 a.m. was real? How stupid did he think I was? I walked over to the time clock and punched in 10:08 p.m. Great. Late on my first day and it's not even my fault. I walked back out into the kitchen. My anxiety rising. You see, I don't know anyone here, but I needed a job to get my own place. It's not a great job, just an overnight drive-through job at a local fast food place. Nowhere you've probably even heard of. The name isn't important, mostly because I don't want anyone looking for it and trying to prove my story right or wrong. I promise you, however, what I'm about to tell you is real, and I will never forget that night for the rest of my life. 10:13, I take my place at the drive-through window where I would be until 6 a.m. None of the other employees have approached me, and I am completely okay with that. I did notice a few of their names on their name tags. Jim is the guy on the grill and Tina is on the register. Owen, the manager who was pulling my leg about the hooded woman, had just left for the night. Tina would be leaving at midnight due to the fact that the dining room closes then. The drive-through, however, stays open 24/7. 10:21. My first car approaches, finally. It's a family of 4. A woman, presumably the mother, is driving, the father in the passenger seat, and 2 young girls in the back seat. I ask the woman for their order, and she gladly gives it to me. Now comes the hard part: social interaction. We're an old-school type of fast food place. Therefore, I had to actually go tell Jim the order. I reluctantly walk over to the grill where he's standing playing on his phone. Hey Jim, we got an order." "Finally," he says, with a smile creeping across his mustached face. I read him the order: 2 kids' meals, no pickle on the burgers, and 2 large chicken tender meals. "Aye aye Captain," he says, giving me a sarcastic salute. I smile and walk back to the window and wait for the order to arrive, which it does in no time at all. I give the kind family their food and prepare for more boredom until the next customer arrives. 10:35, Jim walks over to me and begins to try to make small talk. "So, you're Daniel, right? I see Owen didn't print you out a name tag." "Figures." I smile at him, but don't say anything. "You don't talk much, do you?" "That's cool. Well, if you have any questions about how things work around here, don't be afraid to ask." I immediately jump on his offer. "So this hooded woman thing, Owen hates all the new guys like that?" His face grows cold, yet he manages to let out a nervous laugh. "Well, if there is a hooded woman, I sure haven't seen her, and I've been working here for 9 months now." 10:53, "So, what's it normally like here at night?" I asked. He looked around the empty restaurant. "You're seeing it, kid," he replied with a laugh. "Nobody really comes here late. Most folks are already asleep." I shook my head in agreement. I look over to Tina, who is sitting on the counter taking pictures of herself. "What's up with her?" I ask him. He rolls his eyes. "Your typical case of daughter needs a job and daddy gives her one." "You mean Owen's her dad?" He nods. "She's far too pretty to be related to him," I think to myself. Me and Jim continue our small talk for what feels like ever. Talking about anything and everything. Soon enough, midnight rolls around, and Tina is quick to wave goodbye and get out of here. I don't blame her. I really didn't want to be here either. Jim was making it a little bit easier though. 12:13, I surprisingly get another customer at the drive-thru, a truck full of high school-aged kids. They order enough food to feed the entire US Army. They get their food, and drive off into the dark, cold night. "Hey Jim," I yell back to him. "Do you mind watching the window while I go use the bathroom?" He nods and walks over to my station. 12:17, as I enter the stall in the men's restroom, I notice something that sent chills down my spine. On the back of the stall door were the words "She's coming." I shivered as I sat down on the toilet and grabbed my phone out of my pocket. Great. No signal. Looks like it's going to be a very long night. 12:34, I realize I've been in the bathroom for far too long. I wash my hands and head back into the kitchen. "There you are. I thought you fell in or something," he joked. I smiled. "Nah, the hooded woman got me," I laughed. He did not. He gave me another uneasy smile. It kind of freaked me out, but I didn't believe in this stuff anyway. 1 o'clock, I start to feel uneasy. I knew that I was just paranoid, but the moment the clock struck 1, something just didn't feel right. 1:04, as I look out the drive-through window, I swear I saw a figure moving in the darkness, though it's far too dark to know for sure. The drive-through lights barely reach 10 feet away from the building, so in order to see something, they'd have to be very close. 1:11, I'm gonna go take a piss, Jim exclaimed. I shot him a smile. A weak smile, but a smile, nonetheless. 1:17, there's a knock on the door of the dining room. I'm sorry, we're closed. I scream loud enough for anyone to hear me. However, the knocking continues, quickening with every knock. I'm really hoping Jim gets out of the bathroom soon. I'm starting to get freaked out. 1:20, the knocking at the door stopped. I hear the bathroom door open and I'm relieved to see Jim make his way back out. He notices my worried expression and I tell him about the knocking. His face once again grows cold, however, he's not looking at me, he's looking behind me, through the window. He slowly raises a finger to his lips as if telling me that in making any noise, I'd seal both of our fates. I'd like to make an order, please. A woman's voice called out from behind me. The voice doesn't sound right though. The pitch is off. The words just don't seem like they have any life behind them. Jim shushes me again. I give him a nod. Hello? The woman's voice calls out. I turn around to look at her and am terrified by what I see. There is a figure facing away from the window. It looks almost human, but not quite. Its arms were too long, and the way it was hunched over didn't seem normal. It wore a long black cloak with a hood over its head. I reminded myself of what Owen told me. Don't speak to her. I didn't believe any of this at first, but I was starting to lose my skepticism. We need to leave, Jim whispered to me, and I nodded in agreement. He held 3 fingers up, then 2, then 1, then pointed at the door. We both bolted for it. He was slightly faster than me and made it outside much faster. Wait for me, I heard myself say. Only I wasn't the one who said it. Sorry man, Jim said. Ha 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 ha, I heard in the woman's inhuman voice. The next thing I heard was Jim's screams. I stood motionless, still inside of the store. It's okay. I'm okay. Are you alright in there, buddy? I heard her say in Jim's voice. I resisted the urge to speak to her and instead decided that I needed to get out of here as quickly as possible. I quietly ran to the kitchen and grabbed a spatula. I made my way back to the drive-thru and threw it out the window. The woman growled with pleasure at hearing the noise. I heard her uneven footsteps as she ran across the concrete. I wasted no time in running to the front door, and out to my car, ignoring the sight of Jim's mangled body in the parking lot. I locked the doors and turned the key in the ignition. As I looked out the window of my car, I saw a sight that will forever haunt me. The woman was standing right outside the door, this time facing towards me. Her face was a pale white with a hideous smile that was too big for her face. I didn't take the time to memorize all of her features, I knew I had to get the hell out of there. I slammed my foot on the gas pedal and never looked back. Needless to say, I quit that job after my first night there. However, I still visit during the daytime, and I'm astonished to see Jim flipping burgers in the kitchen. Next story of this video. Posted by u/happyouter03. 4:42 a.m. New message. I looked at my phone. Still sitting in bed, I shook my head in disbelief. It couldn't be. Yet there it was, a new text message from Abby. The timestamp read 4:42 a.m., a time I knew all too well. The time that I found Abby dead. It happened 7 months ago. We had gotten into a pretty bad fight, and she decided to sleep on the couch for the night. I reluctantly agreed. I hated sleeping alone, but we were both stubborn hotheads and I knew if we were next to each other, we'd continue fighting for the rest of the night. I had fallen asleep somewhere around 1 a.m., and was sleeping peacefully, until a loud scream awoke me with a start. It wasn't the scream of Abby, but the scream of something else entirely. The scream, if you can even call it that, was of something primal, something otherworldly. I rushed downstairs to find a sight that has haunted my dreams to this day. Abby, well what was left of her, was lying in a mangled mess on the floor. There was blood painted everywhere, and I immediately threw up at the sight. The front door was wide open, and the red trail led straight out into the night, presumably taking Abby's bottom half along for the ride, as it wasn't left behind. I haven't had a good night's sleep since. I'm still in shock over what happened. The police told me that an animal had broken in and attacked my wife in her sleep. I told them about the unearthly scream I had heard from whatever it was, but they brushed it off. They didn't seem too concerned about the situation at all, But to be fair, what could they do? There was no person they could arrest, as there was no way any person could have committed such an act. I got no closure over the situation as I still have no idea what happened. Which made it worse when I got this text. It was a short message, but one that chilled me to the core. She made a lovely snack. What the hell? I thought to myself. This had to be some kind of sick joke. I stared blankly at the screen not knowing what to do. I eventually decided to message whoever this was back, as it was probably just some asshole who found Abby's phone which was in the pocket of her jeans that night. Who is this? I decided on. It was cliché, I know, but it was all I could think of. It didn't take long for the person on the other end to reply. Excellent question, but allow me to ask you one first, it said. Why didn't you save her? She was so helpless, so innocent, so vulnerable. You could have saved her. She screamed for you, and you did nothing. Why? You son of a bitch! I screamed, when I noticed it started to type again. I waited to see what it had to say. Now, Daniel, that's not very nice. Do you kiss your wife with that mouth? Oh wait, no. You don't. I was seething at this point, but the anger then melted into fear as I replied to the stranger. How did you know I was cursing you? I asked, my hands shaking as I looked around my dark room, only illuminated by the faint glow of the moonlight. The stranger didn't respond as quickly this time. I sat in my bed dreading to see the 3 dots displayed when someone is typing. However, I didn't get them. Instead, I received a picture message. It was a picture of a door. A door I immediately recognized as my bedroom door. My heart raced in my chest. I looked towards the door, expecting it to swing open at any second, but it didn't. My phone notified me of another text message, and I jumped from pure terror. I looked down at my phone still resting in my shaky hands. The message, as I expected, was from Abby's number. Don't worry, Daniel. I'm not going to kill you. Actually, I'm just here to deliver a gift to you. When you're done being scared, come outside the door and look at what I brought you. I promise, you'll love it. My stomach was in knots. I looked around the room, half expecting to see some grotesque monster. But, alas, I didn't. I turned on the bedside lamp and waited for another 10 minutes or so before I lifted the covers, nervously got out of bed, and walked to the door. I stood in front of it for a moment, contemplating if I really wanted to open it. I've seen many horror movies, and I knew that it was a bad idea to do so. I eventually gave in to temptation and grabbed the cold doorknob. I slowly turned it but hesitated to open the door. Come on, Dan. Quit being scared. This is just someone playing a sick prank. I thought to myself, even though I didn't believe the foolish words rolling off my tongue. I yanked the door open. What I saw was not what I expected. It wasn't a monster. It wasn't the missing lower half of my wife. It was a piece of paper folded up lying on the wooden floor. I knelt down and picked it up, slowly unfolding it to reveal its contents. It was very sloppy, and nearly illegible. I eventually was able to distinguish what was written. See you tomorrow night. These events occurred last night. I'm writing this at 10:37 p.m. as a desperate plea for help. I know it's coming for me. My phone just vibrated. I'm scared to even look at it. Help me. Please. Help me.